So I just came back from seeing a show in the Sonoma County Museum, which is about an hour's drive from San Francisco, of Chuck Close's work. And inside this little beautiful exhibition space was a table with daguerreotypes all spread out in a row. Very beautiful images made in this very old photographic process by Chuck, small ones. They're all unique. And then it continued to absolutely huge images made on tapestries, and then there were also photogravures and also inkjet prints that were combined with poems to make a portrait of the person. And all these, this whole thing, all those other things, the tapestries and the inkjet prints, and they all came from the daguerreotypes. They were the same images. It's a very interesting idea. And Chuck Close has always thought of this idea that you can do one thing, it leads to the next thing. When it changes, it's something else in the world of art. But when I got back from the show, I picked up a newspaper, and there was an article in here called, here it is, it's just a little clipping here. It's called Digital Rembrandts Look Fresh from the Studio, and it's about a project they did in Amsterdam where they took Rembrandt paintings and they made digital prints from them, inkjet prints. And they tried to simulate the way the paintings would have looked when Rembrandt first painted them without the fading and chipping and cracking and aging of the paint. And they're apparently quite fantastic and very interesting. But one of the things I read in this thing, I got a quote here. It says, this is the commentator in the newspaper, "Not everyone is happy with the idea of passing off posters as true art." And I guess they are digital inkjet prints, so you could say that. But what's the difference? There is a limited edition of these things of Chuck Close's. Here's the catalog that shows one of the daguerreotypes, and you can see inside the page with the poem and the image together, which was the point of the show. So, but I did notice that these things in here in this book were called, in the book, reproductions. The daguerreotypes apparently in this person's mind are the originals, and the other things are reproductions. But still, those are being, the inkjet prints are being sold for quite a lot of money. So what is this issue about passing off posters as true art? A very good printer, a colleague who works in Los Angeles, Jacob Samuel, was up here, and we were discussing this, and he said he thinks it's about the hand, that Chuck's hand and eye were really shaping this whole thing. I'm not so sure the physical, actual hand is really the critical thing, but the artists being involved and being shaping it. So in a way, no matter how good those Rembrandts are and how enlightening, and they really, I'm sure, are, because Rembrandt himself had nothing to do with it, I think you probably can use this criticism, if they were going to sell them for an awful lot of money, that they might be, as the newspaper said, passing off posters as true art. But that's really wasn't the point of those things. So, but it certainly, art was the point of what Chuck Close was doing. So how do you know? If you're in the marketplace and you're going to buy something, how do you know whether it's a poster being passed off or as art, or whether it really is art, since it's not maybe obvious when you first see it? My suggestion is ask, because the great thing about Chuck Close's and other work that's being done like this with photographic printmaking media, all the way up to including inkjet prints, is they're the art of today. And there are people around who are going to know exactly how they were done and how much involvement the artist had. I really do think that the artist's involvement is the key to getting the really good work that you could categorize as true art.